fired, so I can't make no mistakes. I got this. I got this. Now she gonna go make me nervous. Good afternoon, and blessings, my villagers. How are you all out there today? Got the news for me, huh? Well, I got some news for you. You know, we have news for you, particularly in these times, I tell you. But I'm not going to bring on any, well, I won't say any bad news. I guess every day you can either, mix it up a little bit, we got to know we got to know the real deal. We got to always know what's happening. Some of us want to get away from it or try to hide from it, which is okay, but we got to face it as it comes to us. I just want to thank my team, though, first of all, for this is a holiday. This is a holiday, but they are right here, and I want to thank them. First, I want to thank Sheila, and then I want to thank Juanita. I want to thank my promo crew. I want to thank the engineer here, Norm. I tell you, this man is so busy, got so much stuff to do. I'm just surprised to see him here today, but he's here. And, of course, my co-host, Miss Rose Moore. She's here with the children, and she's going to be bringing them on sooner or later. Well, sooner, because I'm going to allow myself to go through my little soapbox type of thing. I'm on the soapbox today, I tell you, because there's a lot of things going. Well, of course, I'm Ruby Shivers, your unapologetic amateur, still looking for experts in Africanism. But this is I'm getting your papers now, Elijah. Forgot where mine was going to. I'll find them sooner or later. Because what I want to talk about today is two issues that came upon my feed. And it's very important to talk about because, believe it or not, we are still under the impression that what we hear out there in the ethos, the atmosphere, that what it is what it is. But we've always heard this, the expression, not just an expression, the reality that who controls the narrative controls what it is that we believe. And as I said before, I know that there is a quote that says, who controls the narrative, control the mind. And it is that distorted view through which we see ourselves compared to others. Mm-hmm. There's been two recent incidents which have forced me to get on my little soapbox again today, because one's mind are being controlled by the social media platform, particularly our young people. Our young people's mind are being controlled. We hear that all over. We even hear some young people admit that too much of watching their phones and just not really good. They know it's not good for them, but if you're addicted to something, you can become addicted. Right. I make the comparison that we now being addicted to the same kind of situation back in the 80s. I was back there. When they were throwing drugs into our community, and you may not think about it as serious, but it's almost, they threw those in our community. Well, AI now, it's got some good parts to it now. Yeah. But it's damaging if you don't know how to handle it. Absolutely. But what I see with the young people, they on it 24/7, and you can't tell me that's good for anybody. Right. It is. But addictive. Particularly for a mind that's that's the mind that's still developing. Yes. Absolutely. So we all got to be very conscious. Of what we are doing, Mm-hmm. I hear one of my guests. I wanted to stay still and stop swirling in the chair. I have some young folks in here with me today. So when you hear me make a comment off camera, it's trying to tell them to be quiet or whatever the case may be. So we're going to deal with that there. But now there have been two. You remember I told you, I said there are things I'm going to talk about today. But before I do that, I just want to declare ourselves here. What you see us bring on, I have no control over it, just for news, informational purposes, and I bring it on for strictly for your information, So we clear that. Now, there has been two recent incidents which have forced me to get on my soapbox for a minute, because our little ones, as I said before, our little one minds are being controlled by these social media platforms, A1, GPS, and all that. And we adults are still buying into the notion that someone else's ice is colder than ours. So we have two things to deal with. You may recall in my latest book, Why Shouldn't I Cry? Ode to the Black Man, that I list three voices. And I know all of you got the book, don't worry about that. Three voices that we need to always be conscious of: the expert, the amateur, and the antagonist. You know? And I consider myself the amateur that will get on any soapbox to defend my people. And, of course, the expert who can define.
That's right.
And the antagonist will just distort and lie.
Yes.
And much of what governs us today is from the antagonist's point of view.
Unfortunately.
With its lies. Because they basically control the narrative.
Yes.
And who controls the narrative? Control what goes on. And there are two recent narratives that I will talk about today. One has to do with a recent controversy. I don't know if you heard about that, Rose, involving a cruise line.
No.
The Carnival. I think it's the Carnival cruise line. It's an affordable, low budget type of cruise line, And I understand have restrictions that seem a little racist to some people. One being you're not allowed to bring on fans, and I guess that's going to kind of upset those. What is this song that's out now? What is it?
Where the fans
Yeah, when the fan on or whatever it is,
Where the fans at?
Yeah, where the fans at? Well, my guest told me what it is. Where the fans at? So we don't have the fans on. We can't say where the fans at. Well, they are claiming that it causes some kind of issue.
Oh, boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
Oh, boots on the ground.
Bring the fans on.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
And we know what that does to our dance. Now I've heard some of our own people say, "Well, you know how we act." They already are putting it on us or placing the blame on us.
Yes.
Without taking into account where you get low budget anything. Bring on a different clientele that will one where you are paying exponentially more money.
That's right.
You would have more demands on how to do whatever it is you are supposed to do.
Right.
But we're bought into the notion of our inferiority without even recognizing the implication. I have also been on upscale cruises. I've been on them before. And, of course, you act accordingly. Well, I don't mean that. I mean, some people have moral standards for wherever they go.
Right.
But, I mean, for those who may need some guidance or attention, if you don't have someone to do that, but on an upscale cruise, you have people all around who, if you go off an inch, they can bring you back on.
Yes. Oh, everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when that doesn't happen, sometimes people will go astray and do things that they may not otherwise would do. It has nothing to do with race.
Right.
Just do
It's just people.
Yeah, right,
It's just
exactly.
that
Because
they wanna
even
show
on
off.
the upscale cruises, and I've been on a few, you find folks who will get off on issues that you wouldn't even dream that they would do, but they are just allowed to do certain things. Wherein if you was on another cruise, it's a lower standard, they wouldn't. They would pick it out each
right,
time.
higher standards, right.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
So-
that's right. They're
so
not
we-
allowed.
Right. And the low budget, anything, bring on a different clientele, that one
Right.
where you are paying it a greater, higher price, which affords you higher quality services.
That's right.
Regardless of what your
And,
rate is.
and safety and security.
Exactly.
Right.
But we are bought into the notion of our own inferiority without recognizing the implication. Like I say, I've been on upscale cruises where we ran into a serious problem. You know, you have a different level of service too and expectation. Not that they're any better, but they have been forced to provide upscale services. They have the mechanism to make you behave a certain type of way. Human nature is what it is now. Sometimes it's the behavior is governed by what you can get away with too.
That's right.
You know, and I've been on both. But that's how we compare everything. You live in an upscale neighborhood, and etc.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Isn't it? You're not going to get the same kind of services if you in a lower level, economic level neighborhood where they don't even pick up the garbage.
Right. Exactly.
So you wouldn't
Exactly.
you wouldn't make the comparison. You know what it is that you're dealing with, not the individual. You know, yeah. But so don't expect to be different from one where the garbage is not picked up to one where they pick up the garbage routinely. We got to start thinking, making the comparison as I speak. And now my second one, I told you I had two concerns
Yes,
here today.
what's the other one?
My second one, I'm dealing with the children going back to school, worrying about their hair. We're the only people who are so fixated with our hair. You know, and arguably the most unique, beautiful hair on the
Beautiful.
planet.
We have the best hair.
Yet
Body,
we
everything.
forbid ourselves from many pleasures because of our hair. Now, for years, we didn't go near the water. Couldn't go swimming, you know. Better not be caught out in the rain, you know. Burn our brains out, as my mama would say, to try to straighten our hair.
Yep.
You know, even brazenly use the term good hair if it was straight, you know. Only when James Brown and Muhammad Ali gave agency to our hair did we
Yes.
begin to appreciate it all. But even now, the kids today, well, they don't really see it the same way we saw it in terms of good or bad. It's not about that. But they just think that they don't have to groom their hair if they got the natural hair.
Right.
Say, we don't have to groom it. Every group has a grooming process, you know. So I've coined the two expressions. It's coming from Ruby now. I've coined them. For those who have straight hair, there's no such thing as jumping out of bed and not combing your hair.
Yeah.
If you're people with straight hair, you're either straight or stringy. Remember that, straight or stringy. And if you're people with tightly curled hair, it's natural or nappy. No other way around it. You don't jump out of bed just because you got natural hair and think you don't need to comb it. It just be nappy.
No kind of what kind
You
of
know,
hair
you
got,
don't
gotta
jump
comb
out
it.
of bed because you got straight hair and don't think you don't need to
Gotta
groom it.
comb
It's
it.
just stringy. You know, so we got to begin to appreciate ourselves for who we are and deal with it accordingly. Either culture, you have to tend to it. You can't just go to school and don't think you're going to comb your hair. And that's go for our young folks who come out, some of these come out of here,
Yeah.
you know, doing that. If we do that kind of association on all things comparable with most people, we will come out with a different opinion of ourselves. To that end, I try to bring on information that will help us work through some of the established narratives. But first, let me make this disclaimer. And I did it before, but I'll make it again. I do not claim any rights to any material I bring on. It is shown for educational purposes only. Now, I am so glad to have with me today my co-host, Ms. Rose Moore. She is, I tell you, exemplary of everything that you want to know about a great co-host. She helps me out with the children. She is the instructor for our children.
William Acap.
William Acap, and that's William Aquivalon Academy.
Cultural Academy.
Academy.
Yeah, Maymay's
Yes,
kids.
of Plainfield. Rose, what do we have here?
We have some extraordinary talent sitting in our studio today.
Okay.
And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I am extremely proud of them. They've done well and they've enjoyed a good summer, and they showed themselves, some of them, resilient because they've been through a flood.
Oh, yes.
And their family been through a flood, and they've been resilient in being supportive, and they're just so strong, our children.
Yeah.
We love our children. They are great. So
Yeah.
without further ado, I'm going to let them.
Yeah. What do we
Introduce
have here?
yourself.
Are you ready,
Yes.
Chastity?
Yes, we are. Habari gani. That means how are you in Kiswahili. I am Chastity. They sometimes call me Must. I'll explain that later. My guest today is Awa Moss. Welcome, Awa.
Thank you, Chastity. Hujambo. That's another greeting in the Kiswahili language. It means, how are you? But Chastity, why do they call you Must?
Well, Awa, when I was small, they used to say I tattled on everyone. So my brother used to say, must you tell everything? He said it so much, I thought my name was Must.
So Chastity, you must have tattled a mighty lot. See, that's why we need to be more careful with name calling in words.
Awa. Must is a fictional character my Nana Ruby is writing her first children's book about name calling. It's called What's in a Name.
No.
Guess what the subtitle is?
What?
It's called Must You Tell Everything? Awa. Thanks so much for being my guest today, and we'll see you all
next Monday.
Good. Wow.
I'm so proud of
I'm
them.
so proud of you.
I am
uh-huh.
so proud of
And I
them.
can't wait for that book that I'm going to be writing. But in any case, you're welcome. And I'm going to just ask one question to both of you. When does your school start, Chastity?
My school starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow. What school will you be going? Well, I won't ask that. No, I won't ask that. What school will you be going to? What grade are you?
I'm going to 5th grade.
5th grade. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited.
You excited about it?
Yeah.
Okay. What are your favorite subjects?
My favorite subject is math.
Okay. We got a mathematician here.
Yeah.
And how about you, Alwa? When did your school start? You are in Plainfield, right?
Yeah.
Well, Chastity, you in North Plainfield.
Yeah.
You're in Plainfield. Okay. When did your school start?
My school starts on Thursday.
On
Oh, wow.
Thursday.
So you got a couple more
of
days. Yeah.
Yeah. And what grade are you?
I'm going to 7th.
Going to 7. And what are your favorite subjects?
Probably science.
Okay.
Wow. Well, you know, Ruby, I know that you know this about them.
Yeah.
But I just want to also say that these young people are extremely talented.
Oh, very.
They are singers. They are musicians.
Yes.
These young people are talented, and we're going to display their talent this year.
Exactly. Yeah.
So get ready, villagers. We're going to display.
Exactly. You villagers, you'll know that they come on once a month, the end of each month, on the Monday of each month, the class, the school, Williams,
ACAP.
ACAP, Williams Cubalana Cultural Center of Plainfield.
Right.
And they are very much involved with, we even coined the name, Maymay Den,
Yeah.
Maymay's Den, in honor of their first instructor, my sister, Lulu, who we miss so terribly, but we know that she's home with the Lord, one of their ancestors now. But you'll be watching for them the end of this month. They're going to bring you a lot of good information about who they are and whose they are. See, that's what we got to get back to. The idea of we losing our history. No, we can't do that. It's not what's going to happen. We're just going to be learning more about who we are and whose we are.
That's right.
Now, Rose, you know, we have 3 segments to the show. We've developed 3 segments to the show. And what I try to do each time is to bring information on that will enlighten us. One segment is about information, just information, period. And then, of course, we have the children. And the second one, I had a piece called African Speaks.
Yes.
But it's my fault. I don't know how to work the technology yet, so I didn't send that to Norm. But from here on, we will have that information because I'm excited about a young man out of Africa, Burkina Faso,
Yeah, Abraham.
Abraham Traore.
Hmm.
I'm very excited about him, and I thought I had that piece for him, but I don't. So next week for sure, we'll be bringing on African Speaks. Africa Speaks, because Africa is speaking now.
That's right.
Okay, we're gonna hear our first. I don't know which one it is, but just you know them. You could just bring either one on. This is information that we need
Keep
to
seeing
hear.
the same tired comments every time I post about colonization. Well, actually, Africans fought each other too. But wait, aren't y'all doing the same thing here? Black on black violence? Whatever. Like that somehow justifies being kidnapped, chained, or renamed for someone else's economy. So let's talk about infighting since y'all are so pressed. Because if infighting was the issue, Europe's the blueprint. Before they ever stepped foot on African, indigenous, or Asian land, Europeans were slicing each other up like it was a national sport. They were burning villages, staging coups, unaliving monarchs in cold blood, and setting fire to churches, all over who wore the right hat in the name of God. Let's start with the basics. The 100 Years' War. 116 years of Europe and France swinging swords over inheritance drama. The 30 Years' War. A bloodbath so bad it left Central Europe permanently depopulated. Over 8 million dead. The Crusades where they killed Muslims, Jews, and even other Christians because everybody looked like a threat, apparently. That wasn't tribal. That was imperial. That was greed. That was centuries of power-hungry white men killing anything that made them feel insecure. Y'all love to ask why African kingdoms had conflict, but y'all never asked why Spain fought Portugal, why Rome fell from the inside, why Germany used to be 300 separate screaming principalities, why they invented the guillotine and used it on their own kings. If you want to talk about infighting, talk about the 1,000 years of European warfare that happened before the first slave ship ever set sail. Talk about how they practiced colonization on each other first. Talk about the Vikings, the Anglo-Saxons, the Norman invasions, the Inquisitions, the witch trials. Y'all were unstable. Y'all had smoke for each other before you ever showed up trying to civilize anybody else. So nah, I'm not ignoring infighting. I'm just done letting y'all use it to distract what came next. Europe turned genocide into a business model. And the receipts? They're written in blood across every colonized nation on this planet. Infighting wasn't invented by Africa. Colonization, enslavement, white supremacy, that wasn't a community project. That was your export. So let's keep the conversation honest, or keep my community's name out of your mouth. I keep seeing the same tired comments every time I
See,
post
what
it up.
she's saying, and we kind of cut it off before it got on. She wasn't saying African did that. She was mimicking what people say
Right.
about
Right,
Africa and
right,
about us over here. We
right,
sometimes
right.
say that we fight each other, that kind of stuff. If we got a blueprint, if we do, I tell you, everything comes out of and around slavery.
Right.
In my book here, there's two words that I put in here: excuse and what was it? Excuse and explanation.
Mm.
Explanation. I define them this way: excuse is when you have all the privileges and still run
Yes,
short.
and still do wrong.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Explanation is when you have the privilege, but because we have not been in any way or done any research on it, we don't know what that slavery did to us to bring us to this point.
Mhm.
So until we find that out with the experts in Africanism that I always talk about, we're going to have to use explanation for us. Whatever happening to us, there's an explanation behind
Absolutely.
it. What happening to them, there's an excuse because they had
Right.
every opportunity.
Absolutely.
What the young lady was saying, and just at the beginning as she came on, she was saying how we sometimes say we fight each other, we this
Right,
and we that,
right,
and
right.
Africans are.
We
she-
wanna point
then she-
fingers to
yeah,
each
point
other.
fingers, and then
Right.
she ran the list.
Right.
She ran the list
Right.
of who's really
Not
the
only-
blueprint for it.
Not only that, Ruby, I'm not sure. I wish you would have added one more thing. Do you? And I know that you're aware of it, but I just want the villagers to be aware of it. Europeans that came out of the caves, that's how they got to be Caucasians. They never built not one civilization. Not one nation did they ever build. They went into them like Attila the Hun and the barbarians, and they pillaged, raped, stole. That is how they did. And even in America, when they came to America, the Indians opened up kindness to them by letting them cross anything but their burial land to get to where they said they were going and settled. they broke every treaty ever made. So the foundation of this country is a lie.
Yeah.
It's built on blood.
And we have to continue to say that and say it strongly,
Yes.
because I go back to the quote, which I knew who to give a credit to, because it's a great quote. Change only comes
Yes.
when truth is spoken
Yes.
aloud.
Yes.
We can't hide this stuff because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. You're not hurting anybody's feelings, because there are white folks now who I'm bringing on this show who will agree with me and make the same point. What I'm saying to you is, until we tell the truth as
Yes.
it is,
Yes.
we're not going to correct any mistake that's been made, because they're going to sugarcoat it.
Right.
Like they're trying to do now. That's why they're trying to take the books out. And they're very clear. They don't want their children to know the information.
Right.
Yeah, so they are very clear about what they are doing. Their verbiage is very clear. We just kind of sugarcoat things, hide, and
let
want
it
to
go.
and let it go. Or we'll blame ourselves before we blame them. But no, what I'm doing here at this station is not pointing fingers at anybody deliberately for meanness. We're not mean people. We just got to tell the truth now.
Uncover the truth.
If we don't tell the truth, we're going to go further than where we are today, and we can't get much further than where Trump is taking us.
Right.
But if we don't come up with some real truth, we're going to just be hanging.
We owe our children more than that.
That's exactly. We cannot
at
be
the very
afraid,
least, we owe them
and
the
we
truth.
cannot be afraid anymore. And we
Right.
got to understand that for our sake, for their sake, for the world's sake, we may be the saviors of the world. We just may be, because if we are not telling the
think
truth
we
on
are.
things, I think we really are.
I do so, too.
Because what we got to begin to learn, truth shouldn't hurt anybody. But if it hurts, then that may be what it should do.
Right.
But we can't sugarcoat things. We can't just go around, my mom would say, beat around the bush anymore.
That's right.
Got to come straight forward to
And
what
let
it's
them
like.
cover and bury the truth.
Exactly. Because if they hear the truth, I strongly believe, if you hear the truth loudly enough, you might change yourself.
Right.
One of the reasons, it sounded a little, when I made the point that I was going to write to my white sisters, woman to woman.
I know.
But it was for a reason, because
Right,
I said,
right.
it may have been rhetorical, sort of the same, but it was real when I say maybe if we get it to their ears, that something is uniquely wrong with their men,
Right.
and point it out.
Right.
Because it is, if you make the comparison from their men to any other group of men, not just black men, I'm not just saying us, but any other group of men act differently from their men, because their men, even at the top, now their man, Trump, at the top. Which one of our men, from any group,
Oh my God.
be at that top and have that kind of a reaction to everything?
I know.
We got bad in everything, but I mean bad and good and bad. But to the extent that there's a difference, I want to know that. I want to know what it is. I'm the amateur. I want the experts to get together with somebody and tell me what is around. They're floating around in those folks' heads, Trump and the rest of his boys.
Right.
That will make them want to just do what they're doing to humanity, not just to. Yeah, but that's
I really
the
think it's a demonic level. You would want to think that he's unique.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
Yeah.
look at all of these mindless people that are following him.
That's the point. It's not just Trump. We got to look beyond that. It's Trump and the boys who following behind him. And he didn't put it in their head. He didn't give it to. I asked my sister. I had my white sisters, woman to woman. I say, you birthed them.
Yeah.
You raised them.
Yeah.
You support them now. So give me a reason to think that you don't know, or having some, contributing force about why they're doing what they're doing. That's all we want to know. Now, I think we have another piece that's coming on.
Yes, I would like to.
Norm,
hear
we
that.
can hear that.
This information is so
Important.
essential.
Yes, it is.
Listen very carefully to something Frederick Douglass said years ago, but it's pertinent today. He said it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. That means that some of these young black male Trump supporters are too far gone to reach. So what must we do? Focus on our youth, our children. The younger, the better. Because your children are swimming in shark-infested waters called social media. And these sharks spread disinformation very effectively to confuse, to mislead, and to miseducate your kids about who they are and what we fought for. If you don't be careful, they'll have your children loving white supremacists while hating Dr. King, John Lewis, the Civil Rights Act, the Civil Rights Movement, the Voting Rights Act, and even rejecting their African heritage. And what is the result of that? Well, everything they need to grow up to become strong black men and women is gone. So you got to tell them that most of these sharks have black faces and they pose as pro-black, but they're really pro-black imposters. And that's real talk. These pro-black imposters, they push Trump, they push MAGA, they push this red pill nonsense, they push misogyny. Tell them any black person who supports Trump cannot be pro-black because Trump is anti-black, period. Tell them that many of these rappers who support Trump, they do so because he pardoned them or pardoned a friend of theirs. And they should not allow that to fool them. So teach your children how to spot these pro-black imposters. Tell them that education is their armor. Tell them that white supremacists and the pro-black imposters prey on young blacks who don't read. Make them read daily before anything else. So fill your home with black history books. Why? Because Trump and MAGA are ripping black history out of schools. So parents, if you don't step up, you could lose your child. And Trump and MAGA could steal the next generation of young blacks. And remember, stay woke. Listen very carefully to something.
See how urgent that is. I mean, it's not just me. And I'm so encouraged, though. People across the board. I listened to the station, the Sari's 126, Urban View, and others, but that's primarily what I listen to. And we are all coming together, unlike we never
have to
come together because we know the necessity of it. We know the need for it.
Urgency.
And the urgency of it. Because there are things out there, I tell you, that just blow in your mind that what a person will do to another person. And although we know the history, and that's why we've got to continue to learn about the history of how this country was even evolved. So we'll know that it's been done. There's been slavery. And you can't get much worse. You can't get worse than the slavery we encountered. And that's another thing, too. We like to make excuses. Well, we don't like to make excuses. Here I'm go pointing finger. No, I got to go back to my original. We have a reason for whatever we're doing, but it's still not helpful to us. So we point fingers at each other because we don't know that it has a root cause for everything, And I tell people many times if I'm in discussion, and I try not to be too often, but I say, you think about it this way. You either believe your history or you don't.
Or you don't.
If you believe prior to 1619 or thereabouts that we had done all the things that is listed, historically listed in the book that we've done, build the pyramid, the greatest scientist, the great whatever.
Right.
If you're going to believe that, then you have to look at who we are now.
Right.
To say, well, what happened?
Right, what happened?
And even after we got here and they stripped us and all that kind of good stuff.
Right.
Cultural annihilation.
Right.
We still turned out things that most inventions in this country come from us. A few they gave us credit for. But there are many that they didn't even give us credit for.
Right.
I tell people we built the White House. We did all kinds of renowned things like, heart surgery. Everything. And the light bulb.
Everything. If you dig the history, because they've hid a lot of it.
Yeah.
They've distorted a lot of it. But I would say most things, Solomon said in the Bible, there's nothing new under the sun. So if we didn't invent them and we were here first, where did they come from?
Right, exactly. Now, you made a point there. That is so true. And the point I'm trying to make for us, for our edification, if we hear something negative about ourselves, we need to put it in perspective.
That's right.
We start saying, well, then if we were that way then, what happened? So even the negativism has to have an explanation. It's because of the 200 years particularly, and in addition to the last 200. But particularly the first 200 years of what happened with us in terms of cultural annihilation, stripping, and the beatings
Right.
and the treatment that we got. And I was listening to someone the other day who made the statement that, well, we weren't the only slave. There were slaves throughout history. I said, but you
Not like
find
this.
one.
Not
Yeah.
like this.
Write me. Tell me. I want to know. I don't know everything, so I know I'm the amateur. So you give me a history where there's been any other group of people that have gone through the same kind of, they call slavery. I call it genocide. Mafia. Whatever that we have gone through, then I'll back up. But if you can find me in the history, and not only worldly history, heavenly history, if you will, I don't know anything biblical, you know,
Right.
that compared to what we went through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because
Absolutely.
there's nothing like stripping a person of their heritage, their everything, their culture,
Right.
their religion.
Right. I found a great clip about that too, just to tell the truth and to bring the truth into perspective
Right.
for the lying narratives. And I'll hopefully we'll be able to get that clip and edit
Yeah.
it so that we can play it,
Yeah.
because we have to educate people.
That's
because
the whole
something
idea.
happened.
Yes.
Something.
Yeah, yeah. And if we don't know, we will assume that it's us.
Right. But that's what
part
they
of
want us to do. That's
Mhm.
that's what the
Well, that was,
narrative is.
yeah, exactly. That was the
That was the
intent.
agenda.
The agenda.
And it's
That's-
been working.
And it's been working, and it's still working to a degree, but I think it's coming to an edge.
Oh yeah,
ahead.
people are, as he said,
Uh-huh.
awoke.
Yeah.
People are getting awoke.
Yes,
They're
yes.
waking up to
Yeah,
the truth.
yeah.
And not only us, our white brothers and sisters.
Yeah,
too.
they are. Yeah, and some of them, as some of the things that kind of irks me on one end and don't on the other, because I understand it. But we have to always qualify what we're saying about white folk. I tell people I don't even have the time today. You know, I don't have the time, much time that I had yesterday.
Yeah, me either.
I don't have time to be qualifying things, but when I say white folks, you know who I mean.
Right.
Because there were white folks who helped us out. There was
Right.
John Browns of
Right,
the world.
right.
And I think about the 3 young men who went down in the 60s. There were 20
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Goodman
With
and
Till, yeah, right. Emmett Till and the,
yeah.
the ones that are
and there are
accompanied them.
others, you know, I'm looking for some now
Right.
to join force with us. They know what's right. They know what's wrong. There's a young man, I have him in my book, Tim Wise.
Yes.
I love him because he writes about, I'm going to be bringing information from his book on. I think I did last week. But he tells it like it is. He sees what's happening.
Yes.
And so you will have some of them. There's a teacher, I can't think of her name now, but I'll be bringing her on.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
and the ones who will express
Right.
and declare because they know what I know.
Well, there'll be more of them coming. It's like
Uh-huh.
Malcolm. You always quote with it'll be just like Martin Luther King said.
Yeah.
Truth
Crushed to the earth
There
will
you go.
definitely rise again.
will rise again.
Yeah.
Right. So there's more coming.
Yeah, and see, we, the ones who have the truth at hand, we got to be bold enough to do it. Can't be scared.
Right.
Can't be scaredy cat.
Right.
Because the scripture says, my people will perish for lack of knowledge.
There you go.
You
There
know,
go.
we can go there. And we know that some of the knowledge that we're getting is not helpful to us, but he means true knowledge. You know,
Right.
all
That's
that other
right.
stuff.
That's right.
True knowledge. And cause the truth will sort of set you free sometimes.
It will set
Uh-huh. It'll set you free, so there's no doubt about that. But in the meantime, we just got to continue on the battlefield how we know that we can get through the situation we're in. Now, getting back, I want to talk too about the book that my guest, my co-host rather, Miss Chastity Stevens Shivers, she mentioned a book that I'm going to be bringing to you very soon. Wait. One of our guests is asleep. Ooh. I think we need to wake up.
Yeah. Yes, you
But
have to.
but in any case, my book he's talking about. It's a children book, my first children book, called "What's in a Name." Must you tell everything? And my guest, not my guest, my co-host mentioned it too. He told you about the book, Must You Tell Everything? It's a great little story about how names kind of attach to you, and
Yes,
you know,
yes,
can't get
yes,
rid of them
yes,
sometimes.
Yeah.
yes.
And hers was from Must because her brother always said, "Must you tell everything," to the point where she was before she even entered kindergarten. He said it so much, and she taught it so much that she thought his name was Must. So when she got to school, she told the teacher her name was Must. And when her mom came to pick her up in the afternoon, she asked about where's my daughter. Must. She said, I don't have a must here. Well, see, the mom dropped her off at the office. So the office brought her to the classroom. So when the office brought her to the classroom and asked her what was her name, and she said, my name is Must. And so when her mom came to pick her up, she said, I came for Must, my daughter. She said, I don't have a Must here. Well, you could imagine a mom
For Chastity.
aghast.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. She said, I dropped my child off. I know. Where is she? She was frantic. Teacher said, well, we don't have her. By the time she was frantic, Must, Chastity, reappeared behind the curtain there. And the mom said, oh, there's my daughter. There's my baby.
Mm.
What happened? The teacher said, that's Must. She told me her name was Must. And the mom knew right away. She said, Chastity, why did you tell the teacher your name was Must? Chastity said, well, that's what I thought my brother called me Must all the time. And then mom knew. She brought them together, the ones she had picked up.
That is funny.
She said,
That
now
is
see, this is what I mean by what's in a name.
That's right.
Yeah, you call yourself something a certain member of time, and you pick up on it yourself than everybody else.
You accept it,
You accept it,
and other people assign it.
you assign it to you,
Mhm.
and you think that that's what it is.
Yes.
So my villagers, I want y'all to put that on your plate. My book will be coming out soon. Hopefully we'll have it out before the first holiday, before Christmas. But when it happens, I want you to, I'm going to bring you more information because I think that you can order it, pre-order, and which will make, bring it to more of a people know about it.
Yeah, the circulation
Yeah,
will
the
get out
circula-
there early.
So I'll give you more information on it. But it's going to be a terrific book, an interesting book that I think you all will enjoy, and I think all the young people will enjoy because, as I said, it's
They
more
all
than
need
just
a
a
copy.
book. Yeah, they
Really,
need
they need to be
because it's
aware.
about being aware
Yes.
of
yes.
the name you're being called. Because a lot of our young people are listening to rap music that's not like the rap music that I came up with.
Right.
This rap music here has a lot of just derogatory type of
Yes.
information.
Yes.
And
Yes.
calling names and, calling our young ladies different names and calling each other different names.
Out of
and
their names.
Out
yes.
of their names.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yes.
I don't even know the meaning behind it.
Mhm.
And in addition, with this book for you for you grown-ups, I'm going to have like a like a ribbon
Mm.
to my book. So when I do my book signing, you'll be seeing for you grown-ups. There's going to be a ribbon, not information in the book, but a ribbon that's going to define certain ones of the expressions that we sometimes use and don't even know what they are.
Mm.
I
Right.
hear it so much now. I hear
Yeah.
that word MF. I ain't going to pronounce it on the
Yeah, I never
video.
understood that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. But there was a time in history when the slave master was breeding.
Mm.
I didn't care who they bred.
Right.
They were just breeding, and when they get to the point that they didn't have any other people to breed, they breed the mother and the son.
Mm.
That's where that word comes from, so we need to stop using it.
Yeah.
Really just stop on a dime. And then there's the other word, the N-word, well, we know what that's all about. And then there are other words that I'm going to list on this ribbon so we can become more aware
Mm.
of the words we are saying.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. So we got a lot in mind for you all, just for informational purposes.
Yeah.
Because I just believe information is the key. I believe if you
Absolutely.
know better, I think it was Maya Angelou said, if
Absolutely.
you know better, you do better. I
Yeah.
strongly believe that.
Yeah.
And so there's words that there's another word I want to throw out here too. because we use it loosely sometimes, and it's not necessarily a hurtful word. It's just misleading when we say we're not a monolithic group. Bro, we'll use that saying I'm not a monolithic. We don't know. You can be. It's a consensus you're looking for, not necessarily being monolithic. But when we use that, well, one of the things we got to be very careful with first too. We can never compare ourselves with anyone else on the face of the earth.
That's
what
first.
may apply to one person could not apply to us.
Absolutely.
Monolithic. We have never been in a situation, well, I won't say ever been, because there were those in the past who have done it on a level, and more recently, even the Panthers, but more recently, the only group that I could think of now that is close to it is the Muslim, the Nation of Islam.
Oh yeah.
At least they're a group that get together on a
They support one
yeah,
another.
and plus they get together on a yearly basis to discuss their whatever they want and come back with a consensus.
Right.
What I'm saying to us is when we use the word, well, we're not monolithic, think about it. We're not monolithic, but we probably should be more monolithic. That means more together if we knew. That's why we are scattered in 50,000 different directions, because we have not, unlike other groups who go away yearly, annually, whatever, to get themselves together with a consensus.
Yes.
There's the B'nai Brit. There's the Birth Society. There's a lot of those groups that these people get together. That's what the Birth Society got together on this 2025 project.
Right.
They get together on an issue
So they're
that
on
they can
one accord.
on one accord.
That's right.
We need to get together, particularly since we've been so scattered, we need to get together like that in an organization. I'm not talking about NAACP or the Urban League or those organizations where other folks are involved with. Us as African people need to get together the same as the B'nai Brit and the same as the Birth Society, come up with some consensus of how we're going to move ourselves forward. Because unless we do that, we're going to always be behind the 8 ball, as they can say. That's just
Struggle
what it is.
never ends.
Struggle never ends. But we're getting there. We're going to be more conscious, more deliberate, more intentional.
And then strategic.
Yeah, more strategic about what we can do and what we can't do. Talking about that, as I said before, I'm just so convinced, always been convinced, that one of the most important things we got to really concentrate on is reconditioning our mindset to the point that we become the folks we were when we were brought over here.
Yes.
Now, that's a little hard doing, and as far as I'm concerned, the amateur, it's going to take experts in a particular area. And I use examples. I like to use examples a lot. I like to use analogies. And I always use the analogy of that virus.
Yeah.
And it shows you that there got to be special people for special things. Now, when that virus came in, we've had viruses before. We had the cold, the flu, whatever. We had ailments before. We had sickness before, heart attacks, cancer. But it had specialized people for those specialized situations. And I don't understand how we don't know. When I say we, I mean the experts amongst us, not just anybody, don't know that we should require that same kind of attention if we were brought over here 400 years ago and in the position we're in now.
Right.
And for us, many of us can't see beyond the circumstances that we're in. And we're in some serious circumstances.
Right.
We are the least in this, the least in that, the least in that. Least in health, the least in wealth.
But by design.
Right, I'm saying.
Yes,
and if we can't see that, they're going to need some attention to that.
Yes.
See, we know that.
To
You,
break
me,
down
you, me,
those
and 2 other
barriers.
people know that.
Yes.
I'm talking about the millions out there that do pointing fingers at each other.
Right. But
We need to get to them to say, no, you've got it in you. It's in your
Right.
DNA.
right.
But what happened to you, now we can go through that, but it doesn't mean that I can point it out separately by myself. We need to do the same thing as those cardiologists that get together in a place,
Right.
study,
Right.
or
Right.
the oncologists get to place, study,
Mm-hmm.
or whomever, get a place because they know they're studying that specific
That
thing.
specific thing, right?
Yeah. And then we can't see ourselves as being just that specific. And one of the reasons we can't, because we have not been, our situation has not been defined as clearly as it should.
Something happened.
So, because somehow some of us keep saying, well, there were other folks. If you continue to believe there's other folks went through the same thing you went through and they are out.
Right, you
They're
think
doing-
that it's normal.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
normal.
not.
Yeah,
No.
but we have to then put ourselves in a different definition of who we are.
Yes.
Once we make our people understand that, then they will come from that
Our
perspective.
situation is unique.
Yeah, and the way we can explain to them is outline those things that made it unique.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
like I say, first of all, having been stolen from our homeland, most people haven't experienced that. They stole the best and the brightest and the whatever. I brought us across the Middle Passage, and the devastation that caused.
Oh, that psychological
Psychological
trauma. Yeah.
and physically, because
Yeah.
you're talking about the 2 million people that died with that COVID situation
Mm-hmm.
over the 2 years that, death. There were millions of people who died coming through the Middle Passage.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them went overboard themselves rather than
Right.
being enslaved.
That's right.
Then a lot of them just with the way they were packaged. I mean, like sardines. You
I
can't
can't even
live.
imagine it.
Exactly. Coming over across the Middle Passage. So once they got here, then they were hoisted upon slave blocks to be sold to the highest bidder.
Like chattel, like property.
Yeah, to the highest bidder. And after you being sold, taken away from your parents, your family, your friends, and all that, put you in a situation that has never been dreamed of before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the most brutal situation. Women being raped, men being raped too. Can't leave that one out.
Yes.
And men being hanged, people being hanged,
Whipped.
babies being ripped from the bellies.
Yes,
just
yes.
evil stuff.
Yes.
Being burned at the stake,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. And to bring us to this point, and here we almost had Trump trying to take us back. And that's what our people better begin to understand.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time when we went through so much that we never dreamed that a human being could endure.
Right. That
And we
again.
did. We did. And what had happened, our ancestors fought like dogs to get us to where we are today.
That's right.
And don't let nobody fool you to think that there was no fight going on. There was a lot of uprising.
Opposition
To it. And they talked about, others they didn't. But they were fighting all the way. Because a lot of our ancestors, rather than be enslaved, they committed suicide. Or they would go and, do what they knew was going to get them in trouble.
Right.
So don't ever let anyone convince you that our people didn't fight the fight.
Absolutely.
What we got to do now, we got to be just as brave and to say, just unemphatically, we won't go back. There ain't no going back for us. That is not what we're going to do. And with that in mind, we just got to think of ways to move through this situation, But again, one of the ways we got to get together. Get together like the other folks who go together on these different annual outings and try to figure out how to keep us down. We got to go together and figure out how to keep us up.
That's right.
And once we do that, we may be on our way to recovery. And we're going to recover because we will not be
definitely. We are.
destroyed.
Look what all we went through.
Yeah. Yep.
We are going to get there.
Yeah.
But we need to get there sooner than later.
And then later.
And that's what
Exactly.
this show is all about.
Yeah.
Enlightening our people.
Yeah, that's
Enlightening our
exactly.
people.
Well, we have to do what our great ancestor Joe Madison said. What you're gonna do about it? Remember, I told you when I first started this show, my primary aim. Oh, let me do this before I go any further. I got to see my folks. Say hi to the
villagers.
villagers. Yes, Norma. If you could bring the villagers on, just to say hi to them, because we appreciate them so much. Because without them, we wouldn't be. Yeah, but that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. And while I'm waiting for my villager, I just say if you all enjoyed the program and everything and think it worth your while, just don't forget to
Support
catch
us.
up
Yes.
and support us.
Yes.
Walter Shivers, I'm on deck. Lloyd Shivers, okay, let me see who's there. Rashida, thank you, baby, for always being there for us. Joy Jackson out of California. Dina Robinson, hi, family. Happy Labor Day to you, too. Lloyd and Janice, okay, good. You all just got back from the, well, I forgot when you got back, but I know you was on the, on a helicopter. Walter's on deck. Joy Jackson from California, so much needed. And Chester, good evening, family and friend. And my sister Ann from Florida. And Chester, good to see you. Askia is on board. All right. I don't know. Did you hear your excellent my co-host there? So glad to have you all on board. It's just been a great afternoon. I've enjoyed it all. I thank Norm so much for being prepared to bring that information on.
Yes, and our children.
For the second time, I didn't bring in the very important thing from Africa. We have a segment called Africa Speaks. On that, I try to bring on this young man, Abraham Torrey. Mm-hmm. He's a great brother out of Burkina Faso. Mm-hmm. He's doing great things in Africa, but I understand there's a couple other 2 or 3 now that have come aboard from different other countries. Yes. That's why I want to bring it on, because this is what we need to hear, to be encouraged, to know that there are people working in our interest and that we will overcome. We definitely will overcome, and we see it. And we're going through some tough things here in America, but that too will pass, you know. And I want to say to you all, thank you so much. Next week, my co-host, my youth co-host, will be Alwa. Alwa, the one that was the guest that was up here today. He will be our youth co-host next week. I don't know who his guest will be. I think it may be Nana. I'm not really sure. And then after that, we're going to have different co-hosts, youth co-hosts on, to give them opportunity to express themselves, tell you what they have been doing with themselves for the summer. But in the meantime, we appreciate you so much. Our villagers love you. Take care of yourself, and God bless.
God bless.